Campground is a community of RVers. We gather around the campfire to share stories, information, and travel tips that help you on your next adventure. Your camp hosts, Deborah and Barry Benton, are full-time RVers in search of quaint bookstores, cozy coffee shops with great Wi-Fi, and epic photography opportunities, all to share with you. So pull up your chair and join us in the virtual campground. Welcome to the virtual campground. We're so glad you are here on this beautiful Tuesday. It's been sunny all day, but cold here.
Sunny. Not too bad. I was outside for a while. After a walk, it was fine. But yeah, it's in the 40s, so I guess that's pretty chilly. But it's not snowing, which is the first in like
yeah, it was sunny and not
week.
Snowing. What a concept. So.
I know, crazy. Well, we're here live. We're not an AI thing. We're not. We actually are using our own words, not chat GPT.
Although there may be more on that later.
Yeah, you never know. Could we do a whole show of chat GPT?
I think we probably could.
But we'd have to read a script, basically.
Yeah, we'd have to.
Which that's not really one of our fortes.
Put the run of show into chat GPT and see what happens.
Be kind of scary. So, do you have chat up so I can know who's here?
Yes, chat is up. Nice.
Johnny told me the other day that it was spring, and then he mentioned something about snow, and I think it's something in the 40s, maybe even lower. And I said, you have a warped sense of thinking of that's spring. But he said anytime he can put on a light jacket, which I don't know, a light jacket could be just about anything. He said it's spring, but I guess in Michigan you do.
Yeah, it's all relative, right? I mean,
yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I was talking to my colleagues down in Houston, and they were saying that it was already 85 and humid there.
That's not fun.
So, no.
I'd rather this.
Hi, Catherine.
I like it when it's cold. How about you guys? Do you prefer cold or hot? From Virginia, what part of Virginia is Catherine coming to us from?
I can't tell.
No, you can't tell. Mm-mm. It doesn't just show. That's probably good. There's too many things that show everything about a person. I'm kind of happy that we have some mystery going on.
That's right. That's right.
You can at least share with us. A light jacket is not a winter jacket, says Johnny.
No, that's true.
It depends on a light jacket in Tucson is a winter jacket.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Just depends.
Depends on where you are.
But in Michigan, it is not. I agree.
So we're here in Santa Fe, where it has been cold and rainy and snowy. We had a bunch of friends come into town to visit with us, which was delightful. But I was out there grilling for 10 people, and it snowed on me several times.
So we
had a nice fire going outside.
Yes,
and I was the
nobody
only
was
one
around.
enjoying it.
So we did disprove in that particular evening your theory of RVing. What is your number thing?
So the rule for RVing is 6 people.
Rule?
The rule. It's a rule.
I don't think it's a rule.
It's a rule. 6 people for cocktails, 4 people for dinner. I don't know what you tell those other 2 people.
Bye-bye.
It's like we're about to have dinner, so 4 people for dinner, 2 people stay the night. Preferably the people that own the RV. That's the rule.
That's what Barry's been telling people for years. But what did we have on Friday?
10 for cocktails. 10 for dinner.
Still only 2
slept. 2
slept.
slept here. And it was
but
us.
We had all 10 people in this RV. So we have proven you can.
10 people in an RV. Oh,
I
should have put that picture up there. We could have shown that picture of us in the RV. Yeah, 10 of us in here, and it was delightful. Let's see. We've got Doug Rafferty coming in from Southern California.
Been here for a while.
Good to see you, Doug.
And we have somebody, a Facebook user from Indiana, but we don't know who you are.
Welcome,
Miss
Facebook
Indiana.
user.
Miss or Mr. Miss, I don't know, Indiana. We'll just call you Indiana. So anyway, nice to have you here. Thank you so much for coming. Lord, it is a nice rule, except for it doesn't really always apply, Johnny, because, sometimes our kids are here, and then 4 might sleep here.
Oh, that's true. It's different if it's family. It's just that rule only applies to guests that are not
and the Royals
blood
had like 6 people that slept in their rig because they were all family.
The Royals?
Britain.
Yeah. Well,
They had
Well,
a
it's
lot
all
of kids.
family, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's different.
Johnny, family is different. Okay. I'll give you that. So Cal, are you dry?
SoCal. What who are you talking to?
Doug Graffiti is from
Oh, Doug,
SoCal.
right. Yeah, SoCal, yes.
Is it dry where you are? Are you flooded? Snowed
Oh my
out?
gosh, yes. So much, so much rain in California, but I haven't heard about Southern California. Let us know what's going on, Doug.
No, there's a lot of rain there too. I think.
And down in San Diego?
I think so.
Area?
I think so.
Hmm.
Anyway, Doug can tell us.
That's right.
No, we did not have to have anybody sit on their laps. We actually had enough room with the couches and using every chair we have.
Yeah, but it wasn't. It didn't feel crowded.
No,
it was lovely.
No, it was fine.
We had a good time.
Yeah, it was fine. So that's And while we've been here in Santa Fe, we've discovered a few things. We've taken a hike. Well, I have down by the ruins, and we got down the street from this KOA, which, by the way, I think we said this last week. We're staying at the Santa Fe KOA.
Yep.
It's a very nice. It's a journey, but it could qualify to.
You want to explain the 3 levels?
I'm not really sure what they are. I just know that Journey's the lower level, then there's a Holiday, and then I think Resort. And I'm pretty sure to be a Holiday, you have to have a few amenities like they have here, like the dog park, and they have a nice little putting green and a place you can play the thing with the sand. Cornhole.
Cornhole, and they've got a horseshoe.
The horseshoe ring.
Thing.
They also have some spots where it's really kind of fun. If you have a pet, this is a great place to come to. You can reserve one of the spots, and it has a fenced-in area right next to your rig. So you don't even have to. You can just open the door and let the dog out.
Little dog park exclusive.
Exactly. It even has a fire hydrant in it. So cute. So cute. So anyway, so it's really nice. But one of the also nice things is right down the road, about 3 miles maybe, is Cafe Fina, which is a great place to go eat breakfast.
We've had, we went there for breakfast with the group the other day, and it was
They went there 3 times.
If you're into chai lattes, they have good chai lattes, but they look like they had lots of different kinds of coffee and all different kinds of food.
Yummy baked goods. So it's a great place for breakfast. Probably lunch and dinner too. I don't know. We haven't only been there for breakfast, but highly recommend it if you're in the area.
Yeah.
We also heard that Harry's Diner is very good, but we haven't been there.
No, yeah.
That's also down the road.
What did so Deborah's former colleague lives here, and she said that's their go-to if the other places are
too full.
But she made it sound like it's fun.
Good comfort food, and more local, obviously, than like the Shed, which had a 2-hour wait when we went by there the other day. So a little hard to get into. Well-known local restaurant that everybody feels like you have to go to, but maybe do takeout because it was a long line. So I am curious. So here's a question I want y'all to tell us about in the chat, or if you're watching this on replay, please leave in the comments. What do you want to learn more about as far as RV travel goes? So we're working on some things, and we want to know what can we do? What can we bring to you about RV travel that would help you enjoy the journey more? So just let us know in the comments or in the conversation here in the chat, and that would be awesome. And we'll come back to that someday soon. Right?
Sounds good. We're always looking for good topics.
Good topics. Today's good topic is
remote work.
Yes. Working.
Which is what we do.
We
are working remotely, so we're kind of experts on this.
Yeah, we've been doing it for almost 5 years.
Wow.
4.5 years.
Well, not till August.
Yeah, 5 years in August. But you've been working full time. You work for the man, so to speak. You have a corporate job, and you work with them, a small business.
Yes, small business. I've worked remotely before we
even hit the road.
Yeah.
So you've been doing that the whole time we've been on the road. I started out as a consultant helping people with marketing, but then have basically transitioned into TVC being my full-time job. But a lot of other people do lots of fun things. We know people like Marsha that was selling nail products, Renetta who does live coaching. Most of the people we know, especially full-timers, they have a full-time job as well, or at least a good enough job that helps them cover the campground costs, because it ain't free, that's for sure. So so that has been a really big topic. I know that that a lot of people really are always wondering, how do people fund their travels? What do they do to be able to stay on the road? So we went to an expert.
We did.
We went to an expert and talked to Sharee Collier, who is the founder of Live Camp Work. She's done a few seminars on how to work remotely or what you can do on the road. It doesn't have to necessarily be a work remote. I mean, you can camp host, you can do lots of things like that. And she's actually even written a couple books on it.
Has she written a book?
She has.
That's
so
impressive.
Those links are all in the comments or in the little box underneath the video. Show notes, that's the word. But we had a nice chat I had a nice chat with Sharee. She's a lot of fun. She and her family had been RVing for about 8 years.
Yeah.
They stopped about a year ago. They thought temporarily, but it's looking like it might be a little bit longer. They're going to probably get back on the road at some point. But right now, their kids are at that age where I think they need it to be a little settled for a while. So anyway, we have a nice video for you guys to watch. And we'll be in the chat. So please feel free to ask any questions.
All right. Hit that thumbs up button while you're watching the video, and we'll be right back.
Okay, so I want to first of all introduce you to the virtual campground folks. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us what are you doing in the RV world?
What am I doing in the RV world? Many have asked such a question. No, okay, yeah. So I'm Sharee Collier, owner of Live Camp Work, which is a little website I set up for people who work and travel, and it was mainly based around work camping and seasonal jobs. So Live Camp Work, it's a full website. I wrote a couple books. One did really, really well on Amazon, hit #1 in like 3 days, and we had a whole bunch of sales. That was really fun. Couple of courses, and then I started with, online events. I also am a project manager for Escapees RV Club, and I handle some of their virtual events as well as the RVer Job Exchange, which I'm sure we'll get to later.
I didn't.
So that's kind of me.
Yeah, you're big time in the RV world then. Yeah, I didn't know that you worked with Escapees. That's good to know.
Yeah. So I started that in, was it 2021? 2021. Yeah, like kind of in the middle of this pandemic, started doing their virtual events. And it started with an event about, of course, working and traveling. And it was actually rethinking remote work. So it's really fun.
So how long have you been an RVer?
Oh man. So we were full-time RVers for 8 years. So we started in 2013. We ended the year before last. And yeah, we were just out there traveling, right? Like we started at a time when there were not a lot of families, there were not a lot of young people, there were not a lot of people who looked like us. So, we were like totally fish out of water. Like we just hopped in the RV, and it was old. It was super duper old. It was like a 70s model, like Winnebago. Oh my gosh, the oldest RV probably we could have found. But
2013.
the eyebrow ones. Yeah. The eyebrow. Oh, and they had just come back out with like a really like new like fancy one that Heath and Alyssa had. So we were like in like the 70s original, and then they had the big like super fun one. And yeah,
and how old were your kids when you hit the road in 2013?
Oh my gosh, 2013. I should know this. Okay, our twins like had their 3rd birthday. I think it was their 3rd birthday, like the 1st or 2nd week we were in the RV.
Okay.
So
really long lives.
Yeah. So the twins, I think they were turning 3 or turning 4, something like that. So like 3, 6, and 9. And now the kids are 12, 15, and 18. Is that not crazy? That's so crazy to think.
Kind of crazy. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I'm about to be a mom of 4 teenagers. This is just insane.
Good luck with that.
Thank you. So obviously right now we are not currently traveling, right? Like we actually still have the RV. It's set up on a seasonal site, which was a bad decision, to be honest.
Oh, really?
Like we wanted to take a break, right? So we rented a little condo and wanted to like get a feel for how it
Mhm.
felt to live like in the downtown area, like, walking vibes, all the bars and everything's just right here, right? Like the eateries, the bars, all the fun stuff, everything's right here. And we said, "Oh, we'll just keep the RV on this seasonal site. We'll come back and forth. We'll probably do weekends over here." I promise you we have not been to that RV, and we are a year and a half into the lease of this unit, and we haven't used it. So I'm like, okay, we gotta probably sell the RV or put it in storage because I don't know. I think we're done with that piece of it, right? Like we want to do more road trips where we like rent a cabin, or
Mhm.
I had this crazy idea that we were going to rent a van, and like or buy a van and like take that on road trips. My husband was like, maybe without the kids.
Yeah, once you have no teenagers, then maybe a van.
Yeah,
I think that's probably
yeah,
the advice of your husband. Yes.
the
So,
sensible one.
but you are so not necessarily RVing anymore, but so still involved with
Mhm.
the RV world. Like you said, you work with escapees and you do your own summits. I know you've done
Mhm.
summits on traveling in an RV with family, but your big one that I know of is the one about working remotely, right?
Yeah, yeah. So the first summit I ever did was called Make Money in RV. That was back in like 2019, and then I reran it in 2020. That was huge. Like the first one had like 5,000 people and 6,000 people, and it was just I realized a lot of people wanted the same answer that I was looking for, right? Like, so I had noticed on Facebook, a lot of people were saying, how do you afford this lifestyle? How are you able to travel full time? And like, who's paying for this? Like, everyone can't be a trust fund baby. Like, who's paying for these adventures? So I noticed a ton of people were asking these in like the RV Facebook group. And then I found myself like needing the answer, like, how are we like to continue this adventure? How are we going to make money in RV? So I just popped up this event in like I think it was less than 90 days. I just threw it together and I found anyone and everyone who was willing to talk about ways to do that. And then from then on, I went on to do the RV Family Summit, and that was another one. Like a lot of people were like, "How do I pack my kids up and take them on the road in an RV?" So we wanted to answer that question for them, right? Like people are searching for these answers, and if you can be the person to curate the information and make it easy for them to find, then I just found that that was like such a powerful place to be, and just like to inform and inspire and educate in all these different facets of the RV industry was kind of fun, right? Because we think
Well,
RVing, but then like there's tons of different like subcategories in here
yeah.
that are like worth exploring.
Well, and people have so many questions about it, and people like you that have been doing it since 2013. I mean, you figured it out, right? And you were coming in at a time that a lot more people started RVing after 2015. Certainly after 2020, we all know, but even after 2015, 17, right? People, more and more people
Yeah,
in, and hey, I can do this and work remotely became really popular. So
super popular.
you really had some answers based on your experience. So that was great that you were willing to share it. What do you think is the biggest myth people had about working remotely?
Um, that you weren't able really to do it from an RV, right? Like there's no difference really. Like we all need connectivity and we need a way to do the job, but you could do that from anywhere. You don't have to work remotely from your home. You don't have to work from home like a sticks and bricks. You can get on the road and travel, and a lot of employers, especially now, are so open to the idea. And I mean, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't really know the legalities, but I'm not sure you even need to, broadcast that and say like, hey, I live in a van down by the river and I'm going to be handling like your social media management, or I'm going to be handling your marketing, or I'm going to be doing, IT work. As long as you can get your job done and you have the means to do it and the connectivity to stay connected and like not miss those meetings and not drop off when you're handling a customer service call or anything. I just don't see anything wrong with it. And I think it's just an amazing way to get out and have adventures and see the country.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
I
have you
think the biggest hurdle is people opening their minds to it. Like, I can do it.
right? I think well, isn't that true of everything, right? Just open your minds to it.
Yeah.
So what did since you started with that very first one and now you have another working remotely coming up. So multiple years of doing these, what has been the biggest
hmm
change that you've seen since people started doing it? And has it gotten easier to work remotely? I mean, certainly connectivity has gotten easier. Is there more options?
Right. And I think that's the biggest hurdle, right? Starlink just opened that up for everyone. So you can go in Canyonland and you can go work from there now, as long as you're able to stay connected. Sometimes we were kind of bound to the city or places just outside the city where you knew you were going to be able to get that great, like T-Mobile or Verizon service. But now Starlink kind of opened that up for a lot of people. So yeah, I think it has gotten easier. Also, like post pandemic, I mean, there's tons of remote work. Like things that were not remote before are now remote. Like companies that, never explored remote options now have tons of remote positions. And I think just people in general are just more open-minded than they were before, right? Like so many people hit the road during the pandemic because they were like totally bored, which is where we were back in 2013. We're like, oh my God, it's so boring. Like, what are we gonna do? Like we were just, feeding for an adventure. And that's what the pandemic did. Like it forced you to stay inside, forced you to be around your loved ones. And it's kind of the same as RVing, right? Like
Right.
you're in like this little
Close
tiny box.
quarters.
Same thing. The pandemic forced everyone to, stay indoors and we were just wanting to get out. So
Hmm.
the RV industry saw a boom. People took their work with them and they proved to these employers like, we
Yeah,
don't actually need to be in the office to be productive.
exactly. Yeah. Things we've been telling bosses for years. We finally got to
Right.
convince them. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Rethinking remote work is all about like rethinking the options, right? To get out on the road. So these could be like seasonal jobs that you can like pick up one and then skip around to the next. These could be, like entrepreneurial journeys that you're going to go on, like product ideas, digital products that you can create, services that you can offer. But then also, there are many people, just like Barry, working 9 to 5 jobs or, however you structure that piece of it, but they're working corporate jobs for employers and they're able to do it from the road. So we try to cover it all in this event and just open it up. Like, hey, if you want to work and travel, like this is for you. We're all about working RVers and we want to showcase and shine a bright light on every way and any way that you can do that. So this year, I just did an interview with Damian Ross from Rootless Magazine. Like, what an amazing choice, right? For a remote job is to start RV magazine from the road. Like as a full-time RVer, I'm just going to start an RV magazine, and like this is going to be, what fuels my travels. Like I just think it's so amazing how creative people can be. Another lady, so her name is Anna, and she's doing virtual piano lessons. Who would have thought you could teach piano inside of an RV? First of all, they're heavy. Second, they're loud. Right? Imagine her husband.
Got a
But
piano in the RV.
yes.
Oh my gosh.
Like like it's not like a grand
No,
piano,
yeah,
not like
yeah,
this, but it's a huge like,
but it's not just a
professional
keyboard.
like keyboard.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a huge professional keyboard that's
Okay.
very, very heavy. Like how she described it is she took out the two bunks and that weight was the same weight that she replaced with this one
Okay.
piano. And I was like, wow. But then to me, I'm like, wait, you must drive your husband crazy because you're sitting here with all this music. Like, yeah, I'm sure it's great music when she's playing, but she's a piano teacher, so she's
Hmm.
teaching people
Hmm.
who may not be, that great. But she was like, no, he doesn't hear anything. All the sound comes through her headphones and she can adjust the volume of that. So I was like, how like just resourceful,
Brilliant.
intuitive, creative. I mean, the options are endless.
I think that is an exact great example of one, great creativity, and two, really that the options are endless. I would never have thought you could teach any kind of music without having to be right there with the students. So that's amazing. That's great. So okay,
Yeah.
so those are two speakers during the summit.
Yeah, they're both going to be speaking at the summit.
All right. And so tell people how they can find out about the summit and sign up and when it is and all the particulars.
All the particulars. Okay, so rethinking remote work. The live conference is going to be April 3rd through 6th. So it's coming up rather quickly. You still have time to register. Of course, there's a free ticket. So you can register for free. You can attend the whole conference. And then if you want extra bonuses and goodies and access to those replays and all the content that we ran in the first year and year two, then we do have an upgrade ticket available as well. So we have those options. So it's going to be April 3rd through 6th. We have, how many speakers do we have? Well, we have over a dozen speakers, probably more than that.
Okay.
And then we're going to have sessions going from quite a lot of information. We're kind of jamming in here, which is awesome.
Yes.
And you can expect everything from like entrepreneurship to, ways and jobs that you can work on the road, how to tune up your resume and use LinkedIn. So it's a little bit of coaching and that type of stuff. And then, yeah, I'll talk about a little bit of work camping as well. It's like a whole three types of ways to work on the road jam packed into this one event. It's kind of one of my favorites.
So I've attended Sharee summits before, and I've always seen that there's great swag. I assume that can be the case again this time.
Yes, you can definitely expect a digital swag bag when you register for that free ticket at the Rethinking Remote Work Conference. So
get it. Even free attendees at Sharee summits get free swag.
Okay, so when you register for that free ticket, you get the swag bag and you get access to the live event, right? So every day from 8 a.m. till 3 p.m., we have sessions going. There'll be something on the main stage. We'll do a panel. We'll have some breakout sessions. So it's a lot of information, tons of inspiration. You get to attend everything as it's scheduled. If you need extra time to watch or go back and rewatch, then that's when those tickets come into play. We have a super cheap one. It's like $29 and it gives you access for like a full week, plus some bonuses. And then we have a VIP one, which goes on to give you that access to the full 2 years worth of content from those other ones. So I don't know. I think it's a really great deal. We try and keep the prices super reasonable. And if you've attended one in the past, we try and really pack these with a lot of information and stick to the topic at hand. So that's the big thing.
Yep. Yeah. No, your summits always have so much information, and they're great information, useful information. So we will make sure to put in the comments below, we'll put a link so people can get to it so they can register. We highly encourage them to do at least the level where you get it for a week. I find that it's so much information you kind of almost have to go back, even if you've watched it live, and listen to it a little bit more another time just to really get all of it. So that's my recommendation when people want to ask questions about it. So
no, I totally appreciate that. I know it can be a lot. I've attended these, doing them on the back end. It is quite a bit, especially if you have other things going on, right? Like if you didn't reserve 3 or 4 days to sit and just attend this event, then life continues outside of Rethinking Remote Work or any virtual event that you're going to attend. So yeah, having that access to go back and just watch, even for a short period of time, is great.
Yeah, totally agree. So, well, Sharee, it's been so fun to talk to you, and I loved hearing about the Renew Summit. It's another summit. You've done it before. You do them always really well. So we really appreciate you coming and telling us more about it and learning a little bit more about your RV life.
Well, thank you for giving me this opportunity to share. I really enjoyed it. We're not in the RV anymore, but those days were, fun and just some great adventures for our family. So, my twins grew up in the RV, so I think it'll always be part of us. So I really appreciate it. Thank you.
We feel like once you're an RVer, you're always an RVer.
All right. Good interview. Good information.
Once you're an RVer, always an RVer. Even if you're a dreamer, you're an RVer.
That's right. Part-time, dreamer, full-time.
All RVers.
Past RVer.
So yeah, that was, I loved the example of the piano teacher, that she's teaching piano out of the rig. That's just crazy to me. And that she just replaced the bunk beds with a piano keyboard. So that's really cool. Technology these days makes just about anything possible remote. It's really kind of crazy. So, and then Doug was mentioning in the chat that he was looking for something as well. Right. And I put a couple of sources in there. Camper Jobs. I said it wrong the first time, but Camper Jobs is a work site. Now, I do think they have mostly work camping jobs that they list on there. I'm not very familiar with the RVer Job Exchange, but I know it's out there, and it talks about people that need jobs.
And is Camille still doing stuff?
Camille is teaching, and
Okay.
she'll be I'm sure Camille will be one of the speakers during Rethinking Remote Work. I haven't actually looked at the whole list, but she, generally speaking, is. She has branched out. She doesn't only talk to RVers now. She really helps people in general find their passion and their remote work.
Okay.
So, but really these days it is just not that difficult to find even companies that are willing to let you work remotely. And then as those two examples that Sharee used, you have to think creatively.
Yep.
I think even some folks, some of the customer service or reservation places for airlines and things are doing them all remotely because the cost of the real estate for those big centers has just gotten ridiculous. So I think more and more people are doing remote work.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. But if anybody else has any thoughts, please put it in the chat or in the comments. If anybody's looking for somebody, please put it in the comments or on our Facebook page. Help an RVer out.
That's right.
And see what we can find out there for each other. So so that's that was remote work for now. So
Very cool.
the online summit starts next week. I can't believe next week is April. It's already April 1st on Saturday. So it starts next week, I think Monday, and goes through Thursday. The summits are always just have so much information, so many seminars. It's usually packed from 9 to 3 Pacific time. So it's always a good idea, I think, to buy the low end pass. You can get it at the early bird before it starts. It's usually a really good price. It comes with a lot of digital swag.
Just gives you more flexibility.
It gives you more flexibility. And there are some sessions you might want to listen to more than once. So it's good to do the live ones if you can live, because then you can be in the chat asking questions of the speakers. But some of them are pre-recorded, and those you can watch whenever you want. Now, even the pre-recorded, people are in the chat talking. So it's nice when you can do them live. But that's just a lot of time to sit in front of a computer. I just can't do that.
Right.
I have other things I wanted to go do. Yeah, I did. The last one I did pretty well.
But you really do have to treat it like going to a seminar in person where you're there all day going from one thing to the next. You have to block
your day. Yep, you really do. So, but they always do a really good job. So highly recommend it. The link is in the show notes if you want to watch it. By using our link, we get a small commission from if you do make a purchase, but
maybe worth a little diesel in the tank.
Yeah. A little, very little. But anyway, so that is remote work.
Okay.
I also wanted to share, I thought we'd talk a little bit about travel.
Okay.
And specifically some of the things I've recently been hearing about national parks, and I just thought I'd pass them on for anybody. We are getting into that season where people have their summers planned and they're thinking about going places. And I've heard a few things about some of the national parks.
What have you heard?
Some of them have been really affected by the weather.
So, like Yosemite shutting down completely?
Yeah, so they had to shut down completely because of snow. They're still saying, I think parts of it are open again, but they are telling people it is still got a lot of snow. So make sure you have the right kind of hiking gear for snow. They are also going to move towards, in April through October, all reservations for campgrounds. They've always had a lot of them be first come, first serve.
Right.
And they will be up until April. But from April until October, they're now going to require reservations. And I'm sure it's to help cut down on people just circling around.
And waiting. Yeah, you get
coming in and hoping.
So many people just hoping they can get a spot. And then they end up just having to leave. And interesting. Yeah.
So yes. So that I thought was really good to pass along. Also affected by the weather has been the Sequoia National Park and the Kings Canyon National Park.
I hadn't heard that. What's going on there?
Well, they also had a lot of snow.
Okay.
And so that affected some of the roads. But I think in general, it also caused some damage. So they're doing some road repair.
Wasn't the Sequoia the one that was severely damaged last time we were there? Trees all over the place?
Trees and things, yeah. So Sequoia, the giant forest where General Sherman, the large tree is, that will reopen in May. So it's not even open right now. Wow. One of the ways, there's two ways to get to it. One way will open in May and the other one in June. And then in Kings Canyon, the Grant Cove is close until April 14th.
And
So
that Kings Canyon only has one road in and out of there.
Mhm.
It's yeah. So,
So,
if it's shut down,
yeah,
it's
one part of
hard.
it. Yep. So those are two things to know. Also, Zion National Park. So they had some rocks fall.
Hmm.
So they're having to clean up that. So that's been on the scenic drive. And then there's also some road repairs that they're doing. So some damage in the Kolob Canyon. So again, it's open, but you want to make sure you check and see.
Was that from the flood last year that they're
You
still
know,
cleaning
I'm
up
not
from?
really sure.
Hmm.
It could be. The rockfall, I think, is fairly new.
Hmm.
And Glacier National Park also has some road construction going on. They are going to be doing construction this summer, so there's going to be some traffic delays at the west entrance and closures at the North Fork entrance. So again, it's going to be one of those things where with national parks, we always recommend you double check in on their website, nps.gov, where they'll have the latest closures and the latest happenings, but that way you know when you're going and planning, because the sad thing is you'll get there and then find out something's closed and you were really planning on visiting it.
No, we're going to be in Glacier.
Yeah.
We better get those roads fixed.
Hopefully they get them all fixed by then. Yeah.
We'll let you know.
Another closure is at Mesa Verde. They also had some closures
That's right
there.
down the road.
I know.
Sort
we
of.
were planning on being there next month.
Sort of, not really from here.
Sort of, not really. But then on positive note, Congaree National Park. Remember we went there in South Carolina. So
bunch of trees, if I remember.
Lots of trees, swamp.
Old growth forest.
Yes. What do they call that? There's a word for that.
It's not old growth forest?
It might be old growth.
I think that's what they call it.
But remember, they were the place that had those firefly.
Oh, yeah.
The fireflies all come there, and they have a giant...
They have a firefly festival.
Basically, yeah. Well, the fireflies have a festival. So they call it a firefly glow. And so they are predicting that will be April 13th through the 16th. May 13th through 16th. And then the following weekend, 19th through 24th. Those will be the two. Well, I'm sure they're predicting it happening all week.
That's when they're letting the fireflies in?
Yeah. They're not coming loud in. No, I think that's just when they're anticipating they will all wake up or mate or do whatever they're doing to make the glow happen that week. For those 2 weekends that I just mentioned, May 13th through 16th and May 19th through 24th, you have to have a pass in order to get into the park. And that's a very small park as far as, doesn't get a huge visitorship except for then during the firefly glow part. So if you are planning to be in South Carolina and can make it to it, I think it would be fascinating.
I would love to see that.
I would love to see that. We might have to time that at some point, but if you go, please send us pictures.
Right.
Because we absolutely want to see it. And then another place that we've been and that is now announced a new date is the Thunder. Remember the Thunder?
Oh, yeah. That was the big kickoff for the Kentucky Derby in Louisville.
Right.
Louisville, Kentucky. It's a lot of fun. Big festival kind of thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So the Thunder is going to happen on April 22nd this year. The Derby is always the first Saturday of May, and the Thunder kicks off the pre-event. So it's usually two Saturdays before the Derby.
Okay.
So if you're going to be in Kentucky, I have gone to many, many, many fireworks shows in my life. I love fireworks. This is the most awesome fireworks show I've ever seen. Most amazing display of fireworks. That one picture does not do it justice. Imagine that times like
300.
At the same time, 3.
Yeah, it was all...
Because it was really cool in that they had 2 different bridges going off with fireworks at the exact same time. So it was really, really great.
Thunder was pretty cool. And get there early, find a place near there were 2 bridges, and find a place near there.
Between the 2 bridges, yeah.
And just kick back and
so you're on Main Street. You go down this little street, go past the Distill Hotel and the other hotel that's name I can't think of.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a little park.
Taco restaurant.
Yes, it has a taco lounge. And then you go over there, you'll see a big area. People will already be there. Keep going down a little closer to the vendors, but high enough that the lights don't bother you. We just sat on a little brick wall, and it was perfect.
Yeah, it's lovely.
It was lovely. So I highly recommend it.
All right.
I saw that Johnny mentioned that his daughter got a job as a VA. Awesome, that's great.
Yeah.
And that
Be
he
able to
also
go remote.
suggested Work Camper News is a good place to look for work for RVers.
Okay.
So good information. Thank you. And that, I think, is really all we had today. Let's see, in the community work, since Marsha's here, congratulations on becoming a grandparent for the first time. That's really exciting. We're very excited. Send pictures. And the Pishnas left today for a huge trip without the RV. They're going to Colombia. So that's pretty fun. No, I have not been. There's a convention.
Wow.
A convention of fireworks.
Wow.
Describe that more
May have
to
to
me.
learn more about that. That sounds pretty cool.
It does seem pretty cool.
All right.
Okay. Next week, probably not a big show. Barry might be on by himself.
Yeah, I might be. Who knows?
Come
we'll
and
see
talk
what
to
happens.
Barry. He'll be alone.
Yep. If I can get online, I will certainly get online and chat. And I don't know what the topic will be, but we'll make something
We'll
up.
come up with something. It'll be boy talk.
Maybe it'll be all chat GPT,
Yeah,
GTP.
Chat GPT. Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll put in comments that I would normally make and see
So
what the chat says.
We did ask Chat GPT to tell us an RV joke, and I think we need to work on this a little bit. Let's see. Though it gave us a quote: "Home is where we park it, but sometimes finding a parking spot can be a real adventure."
Why do RVs always have a sense of direction?
Because they have a compassion for adventure. Compassion. Yeah.
It's more of a written joke than
Not,
a said out loud joke.
Not terribly funny.
Why didn't the RVer want anybody to borrow his RV?
Why?
Because he didn't want anyone to drive him up a wall.
Oh.
That's
All
chat. Barry's jokes are better than that.
Well, wow, that's high praise.
High praise. So we will see you for sure in 2 weeks, if not next week.
Mm-hmm.
One of us will see you next week. I will be out of town, so unable to be on. And we ask you please to invite a friend to follow us. Let's grow our community. And we remind you to answer the question on what other topics specific to RV travel would you like to hear more about, so that we can start building that.
That's right. Thanks for being here. Until we can meet you in person sometime, we'll see you in the virtual campground.
See you around.